Namaste. I wanted to take a moment to talk about anger and give you what I think is the most important two practices with anger so that you can shift from that reaction of it to a response. And I think of it as when we have that anger reaction, if we stay in that, that's when anger can become destructive. But if we can shift that anger so that it can become a response, we can use anger to become more constructive. All right. I know for me, when anger happens, it can sometimes feel like this huge surge that just comes through the body, right? And it's hard to get even a little space to stop that surge from happening. But the more that you practice becoming aware of it and leaning into it, getting curious about anger instead of going with it, thinking, oh, I'm justified with this. I've been wronged, like that reaction taking over. It also is important to have a bit of a mind shift around anger. And to me, this is actually a mind shift around all emotions. So, first, our emotions are not good or bad. Some of them feel very uncomfortable and we label them as bad, but they aren't bad. Some of them feel pleasurable and good. And we say, yeah, these are good emotions, positive emotions. Instead, I invite you to start to work on cultivating a mindset around emotions that sees emotions more equally, equally as they are all communication coming from within us about an experience or a situation that we're in. They're not something to stop. They're not something to try to create more of. They are simply communication, and we need to learn how to listen to them. So when we're listening to anyone in our lives, what do we have to do? We actually need to pause and be present with them. So when there is a reaction of anger, this is the first thing I want you to practice is pausing, feeling that stop and pause. And then right with that, these two are paired together, breathe. Pause and breathe. And when I say breathe, the thing I want you to focus on is the exhale, lengthening that exhale. Okay, so there's a surge, there's a reaction, you feel it, pause and breathe. Letting go of the thoughts, letting go of the urge to lash out or yell, do any of that. Pause and breathe. And let's practice the breathing part. Okay, so bring your awareness to your breath, and I want you to simply, we're going to focus just on an exhale through the mouth because sometimes that there's so much energy with anger, we need to just really try to release that to start off with. So let's take some breaths in through the nose, let them out through the mouth. Again, as you're exhaling, try to lengthen that exhale. Slowly exhaling. Let's do one more. Good. And then we're going to start to shift this exhale through the nose. So as we're doing it through the nose, it's going to become less forceful, maybe less urgent, and starting to create a little more ease. Good. And notice, how does this feel in your body right now? What is this? How does your mind feel? How does the body, how does the nervous system feel just after taking a few breaths of focusing on the exhale, exhaling through the mouth at first to let go of that energy that may be surging through the body with anger or another emotional reaction, and then slowly moving towards exhaling through the nose. Okay. So this is what I would encourage you to use anger as an opportunity, right? To move from being, from having that urge to be destructive with anger, to move towards responding with it. Okay, pause and breathe. When you notice any type of reaction, whether it's anger or any other emotion in your body through the day, practice pause and breathe, pause and breathe. Okay, and see what happens. See what starts to happen with that anger emotion. Okay, if you're watching this video, you're most likely someone who wants to be more constructive with your anger rather than destructive. You don't want to fuel the destruction that's happening in our world right now, right? And this is one big way that we can start to change that by shifting our own anger reactions. Okay? If you have any questions, feel free to reach out at any time. And I'd love to hear just your thoughts about of what happens as you practice pause and breathe. Namaste.